Love letter number 1 to my pit bull self. I love the teeth of your love. How you pit bull deep into the flesh of loving. How you make shrines for the empty spaces, abandoned apartments. Shrines to former residents of borrowed books and toiletries. Envelopes full of photographs and letters and pen. How you never fill the same space with new, but keep building out, expand the frames and floors. How you know when to change the locks and when to nail it shut. I love how you calculate, estimate the risk, how you trust the unnamed algorithm, the intuitive push flashing, yes, let this one in. Love that one. How your soft, wrought iron grip holds every name tight. Each face its own story, each moment a glass in your pain. How you refuse to argue about the wrong or right way to love. I love how so much of it matters, how you will forgive as many times as they will call and ask for it. How you defend this weakness with the expense of wasted time. Your time to give being your love currency, not words, not gifts, not your doing for me, but your minutes and hours, your speak with me, eat with me, sit in this space of air. I breathe with me is love. I love how love greedy you get, how you collect time and stuff it in bags and boxes, shove it on shelves in closets, covering walls, blocking doorways in empty apartments. You guard dog this house, an unapologetic hoarder. How you refuse to purge it, refuse to loosen your grip, set shrines in windowsills, light blood candles. There is always room for more. So I heard Teresa read a poem mentioning chlorophyll, and then Raquel did too, so I can read that one. And this is actually happened to be, actually I don't think I mentioned chlorophyll in it necessarily, but this is one that actually Dawn published last year in the quarterly. This is Reef of Clouds. I am a car underwater, driving through seaweed and coral. You are shark swimming, circling, circling. I have forgotten how to breathe, so I pull on blue-gray sunbeams, escalating me upwards. My lungs eat particles. I am phytoplankton, as small as molecules, as massive as continents, sending breath into clouds, into horizons. You are pollution, black slug of fossil fuel. I will sleep in the crook of your arms, make you drink in my low tide, turn you starlight. This is from a different collection I have that altogether tells a story, one love story. So this is how to lose 25 pounds without dieting, pills, or exercise. It's a true story. 1. Open a Christmas card from a long-lost love who found you on the internet, not on Facebook. Especially if that long-lost love broke your heart when you were young enough to idealize the heartache. And especially if that card was also an apology. 2. Obsess about the millions of possibilities, the reasons he sent you that card the old-fashioned way, with a stamp and pen, after 14 years of not speaking to you again, especially if there's no phone number or return or email included, just a return address. 3. Let him back into your well-worn heart without real answers. Let him apologize again and again, but let him be unexplained and so much kinder and so much softer in the eyes. 4. lose a lot of sleep, buzzing constant with the weight you attach to his every syllable, every familiar gesture laced in his new grown man charm. Especially lose sleep waiting weeks in between excuses you both invent to relive your lost connection. 5. Dive in deep the moment he kisses you. Do not look up. Do not hold on to anything from the surface. Keep pushing forward and down. Let the pressure crush you. Let him have every last ounce of oxygen. 6. Remain only in the present. Live minute to minute, like you must love him for the lifetime you've lost, and never try to add up those years in between or account for his lack of details. Live for the now reality of your skin and sweat and breath. 7. Surrender all your doubts and lay them unquestioning at his feet. Do not see it coming. Do not brace yourself. Do not know you should have known. Do not have any assurance except his hands through your hair, and do not ever forget it. Sharon as segue. We had our first real date. We had a talk after our first real date. I used Sharon Old's Gold Cell as segue. Poems of damage and fracture, like a spy told from war. I needed you to know enough to understand, enough to get why. Before I shed my clothes, I had to untie those secrets, to lay them out across our laps. Feet up on the coffee table, I had to look away, as I always do, and tell you how damaged I was, how broken my heart had been before I had ever seen it coming, how it wouldn't be personal, how it wouldn't be about you, how I carried this weight all my life, how I didn't know if I could rest it. You sat stone quiet, arm across my shoulders. You kissed my hair, locking your knees under mine. Summer drunk. It's the heat. It reeks of his smell. Reminds me of the place under his collar, the edges of his long sleeves. How the air was too thick for sleeping, and how I was constantly intoxicated with the hum of his voice. I lay in the green sun reading his books, breathing his fingerprints, heartbeats between text replies. The blue sky kissed my shoulders and thighs, grass ceiling always, bracing my body from ascension. How I existed in the space before you with me and without was sleepwalking and summer drunk. The heat hung like a red cloud on my back and on my heels. Here, the earth comes back to this place around the sun to break my sobriety again and again. This is one of those moments you have like after a breakup and you realize it's not the person that you miss, but it's the feeling you have. It's just you miss being in that feeling. You know, the person is regardless. It's just you miss feeling in love, right? You just miss that feeling. This is the atmosphere I miss. At this point, it's not him I miss, not his back of red-brown constellations, but my own atmosphere I knew naked in front of his flat-screen TV. It's not his gooseneck car, orange and black enormity, but the happy surrender of the passenger seat, not driving, not road thinking. Clear-minded, I miss not making plans on Saturdays and Sunday mornings. It's not his tongue or its softness, but the fullness of my mouth at its opening. I'll do two more. This is so I have a press called Sadie Girl Press. I published Raquel's chapbook that she read from, all her incredible poems. And I just put together like a little sampler, so it has 8 different poets in it that I have published or will publish. I actually got the line for this from one of Raquel's poems she did not read today, but the line from her poem is, "Mother, you do not need to understand the language he broke me in." And then, so I took that and just called it "The Language I Was Broken In" is the title of this sampler. The poem I'm going to read is called "Both Wolves and Sheep Alike," and it's illustrated by a friend of mine who did this really cool picture here that goes along with the poem, which I can't believe how well he nailed the feeling of the poem. So anyways. When you look at your sunlight child, baby girl with rainbow eyes, deep dimpled cheek to store your kisses, when you look at her wind chime twirling, throwing her perfect young mouth at your carpenter hands, how do you not lock them around her kitten soft body, throw her up on mountaintop shoulders, march through clouds, place her safe far out of reach from giants and ogres and demons with sweaty jaws? How do you not gather armies to fight in her name at the mere thought of bruised knees? How instead do you wear lamb's robes, put her in your ice den with your hands at her throat, cut words into her belly, fill her with stones, lay her in the river, as the hunter's trumpet sounds, leave her in the current, let her bleed for decades, to grow old, hating both wolves and sheep alike? How then do you howl at the moon when your sunlight child turns black, when she cuts all parts of you off of her skin, spits your dead leaf name from her mouth? How do you howl at the moon when she lets all memories of you rot into soil, lets fungus eat all of the cells inked with your DNA? How do you not throw your own wolf body into the river, kill the only beast she knew before she had claws of her own? And the last one, I didn't read the second one, but this is in my series of love letters to myself. This is love letter number 3, to my mending self. You may begin to miss the grieving, the adrenaline heart thrashing in your ribcage, the coughing lungs asking permission to breathe. You may begin to hear all the quiets, humid, silent scratching, each day confirming, this is it, this is all it will ever be. You may begin to miss the panic of hope tangled in his tight strings, miss the fight, the battle, the bruise, miss kissing blood from rope-burned hands. You may begin to sleep through the night, to lack rebuttal, to forget to answer back. You may begin to notice the crevices in your wrist, the uneven scurry of a black beetle across concrete. Notice the sound of lead scraping paper, how it curls to the rub of an eraser and disappears like it was never there to begin. Thank you.